So I'm just doing a half recipe right now. The recipe's enough for 4. I'm just gonna do 2 chicken breasts right now. I'm gonna season those up with a little bit of salt, as well as a little bit of pepper. And then we're gonna go on with some Italian seasoning. Just some dry Italian seasoning on there is gonna be absolutely beautiful. I'm gonna go on with about a 1/4 teaspoon. If you were doing the full amount, I would do a 1/2 teaspoon. But the reason I'm putting the actual seasoning onto the chicken itself, because we are gonna dredge this in some flour in a second, is that I don't want that seasoning to burn as it hits the heat of the pan. So we're gonna give this a little bit of a buffer between that hot heat and that actual kind of spice. So we're gonna do a little bit of a dredge with some flour. So I want about 1/2 cup of flour for 4 chicken breasts, so about a 1/4 cup for 2. Add that on into a shallow baking dish or pie pan. And what you wanna do is grab that chicken and just flop it around in that flour. What this is gonna do is it's gonna give it a little bit of a coating on the outside. It's gonna help the chicken go really nice and golden brown. It's gonna protect those beautiful herbs, and it's also gonna help build a pan sauce later on. Whenever you put something into a pan that has flour on it, a little bit of that falls off into the pan and almost creates a roux, which a roux is fat and flour mixed together, used to thicken up sauces. So that chicken's looking great, nice and dusted. So now what I wanna do is in my pan, I've got this over about medium heat, and I'm gonna go in with about a tablespoon or 2 of oil. Now I'm going on medium heat because I don't want this super duper hot, because I want this chicken to cook nicely but not too fast. So we're gonna add the chicken in, dust off any additional of that flour, pop that in, and that's gonna start searing. Now you wanna sear your chicken, I'd say for about 8 minutes per side, just until it's golden brown, cooked through, looking beautiful. If you were a little nervous about maybe burning your chicken or something, you could just give it a hard sear and then pop it into an oven just to keep cooking until it reaches about 165. But this is how I like to do it. 8 minutes per side usually gets it nice and cooked through. So while that chicken gets going, I'm gonna get to work on the base of that sauce. So the first thing I need is some shallots. Again, chicken Florentine, even though it's named after Florence, the city, in Italy, it kind of feels more French. We've got shallots, we've got garlic, we've got cream, we've got all that stuff. So I'm gonna give these shallots a little bit of a mince. 2 shallots is great. If you don't have shallots, you could totally do this with an onion. I would probably use like a white cooking onion, and I'd probably only use 1. Shallots obviously are a lot smaller than an onion. So typically, if I'm doing a swap out, I do 2 shallots per 1 onion. You could also do red onion, but to be honest, once it cooks down, it gets a little bit kind of darker purple, and I'm not wanting that in this sauce. This is a nice, creamy, light sauce, super delicious. So I'm just getting that shallot nice and cut through. Then we're just gonna dice those up. When was the last time I cut all my shallots on this show? I love this. This is like me at home. I go home and I'm like, I don't know what I'm making, but I know there's gonna be an onion in it. Just start chopping them up and you're good to go. Perfect. All right, now that chicken has obviously not been searing quite for long enough, but we here in the television world have what we call a swap. So I'm gonna just nudge this chicken aside, pretend that's been cooking, and then you end up with something like this. Do you see the outside of this? You see that little bit of flour? It's golden brown, but you can kind of see there's that little bit of a coating on the outside that's gone golden brown. It's held a lot of those juices in. It's protected those spices, so we're feeling good. I'm just gonna grab another pair of tongs. And I'm gonna remove that chicken from the pan. Because we had that oil in there, because that flour fell off, this is kind of the base of a really great pan sauce. Anytime you are searing meat in a pan, all of this golden brown stuff stuck on the bottom, that is just flavor. So we're gonna start building up a little bit of a sauce. So in addition to that little bit of chicken fat, that little bit of oil, we're also gonna go in with some butter, because why not? So two tablespoons of butter is going right on into that pan. And that butter's gonna help kind of lift some of that delicious chickeniness off the bottom. But in addition to that, we also want that shallot. That shallot has a bit of moisture in it, so it's also gonna kind of shake and shimmy all of that golden brown deliciousness off of the pan as well. So I'm gonna add the shallot in, give that a little bit of a season with some salt, little bit of pepper. If you wanted here, you could add in more seasoning. You could add in some sage. That would be really nice, especially this time of year. But I'm feeling we're gonna go kind of classic today. Let's give that a little bit of a stir just to start cooking down. And you wanna cook that shallot down for anywhere from like 2 to 3 minutes, just until it's a little bit golden brown and softened. So while that, oh my gosh, that smells so good. Sometimes I'm like, Mary Berg, you've done it again. That smells really good, I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna chop up some garlic. Now, I'm going big on the garlic. We're going on with 4 garlic cloves. One per chicken breast. It's fine. It's fine. We're gonna be good. So I'm just gonna chop this up. You can also mince this. I know we all know that I don't like chopping garlic. My least favorite thing in the world. I hate washing the cutting board after. So you could easily do this with a microplane. Just for speed, I'm going in this. Or even if you had one of those classic garlic crushers, that would be beautiful as well. But I'm gonna just chop this up just as fine as I want. Garlic's kind of funny. The more you chop it, the punchier it is. So if I leave it kind of punchy like this and bigger like this, it actually cooks down a little bit sweeter. So we're gonna pretend that that shallot has been going for about that 2-minute mark. I'm gonna add in that garlic, and I want that to go for about 30 seconds. Once that's gone for that 30 seconds, that raw garlic flavor has cooked off. It smells absolutely amazing. So now we're gonna start adding in some saucy ingredients. So the first thing we need is obviously our good friend, white wine. So dry white wine is always a good thing. Whatever you've got hanging out in your fridge door, about 3/4 of a cup in here, just add it right on into that sauce. Let that cook down, reduce to about half. You can see how much that wine has reduced. I put in about 3/4 of a cup. It is reduced down to, I would say this is about a 1/4 cup. So we gotta start adding some things just to build this sauce. Now, with a Florentine, you often want a bit of a creamy sauce. So obviously, we're gonna add our good friend cream. Now because this is how I like to do things, 3/4 of a cup, I'm going in with whipping cream, because why not? You know? Now, if you don't want to use whipping cream or you don't have it on hand, coffee cream would work perfectly, table cream, basically whatever you've got. I just wouldn't use milk. You want a little bit of that fat because that wine has a little bit of acidity in it. And if you were to put something in there that's maybe a little bit lower in fat, it has a tendency to split, and you don't necessarily want that. Also, when you use whipping cream, the sauce comes together in like 2.8 seconds, which is a dream. So, you know, you're saving time. It's always a good thing. So give that a little bit of a whisk, and I just want to bring that back up to a simmer just until that cream starts to kind of blip and bubble. It's going to get a little bit thicker, but we don't want it to thicken too much because we're going to add some more stuff into there. So while that cream comes up to that simmer, I'm just going to chop up some parsley. Now, I'm using flat leaf parsley here. If you're someone who likes a curly leaf, go for it. I personally am not a curly leaf gal. I feel like it's too green tasting. I like the way this tastes, so you do you. But I'm gonna chop up about 2 tablespoons of parsley. And again, anytime I measure herbs on this, I feel like I lie because I never measure the amount I say. Because with herbs, just measure with whatever you want. Listen, if you got a big thing of parsley in your crisper and you know you're not gonna eat it, put a bunch in here. It's gonna be great, it's gonna be delicious. So just give that a little bit of a chop. It's fine or as kind of chunky as you'd like. That's looking absolutely beautiful. And this cream has come up. It is looking stunning. Those bubbles start to kind of blip and kind of hold their shape. That means it's getting nice and thick. So now we're gonna start seasoning this up just to give it a little bit more liveliness and to lighten it a little from that whipping cream. So first thing I'm gonna go in with is an Italian ingredient. We're going in with some pesto. So I love a store-bought pesto. Someone else has put so much effort into this. There's so many ingredients going on, but it's gonna bring a ton of flavor. So we're going in with a little bit of store-bought pesto, just about a tablespoon of that. I'm gonna go in with that parsley as well. And then I'm also gonna go in with the namesake spinach. I'm using baby spinach here because it cooks down really, really quickly. If you had like cooking spinach, that would work well too. You just cook it down a little longer. I'm going in with about, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 handfuls, whatever you feel. Give it a little bit of a mix. And as you can see, that spinach is gonna start to wilt down. This is why you don't want your cream to boil down too much, because then you're not gonna have enough to kind of carry that spinach. So give that a nice stir. That spinach is starting to wilt. And now we're gonna add in a little bit of lemon. I love the flavor of lemon and spinach together, but fun fact, lemon, too acidic for green vegetables. If you add it into the spinach, the lemon juice into the spinach now, or into something like green beans or something like that, that is gonna go from green to brown in like 20 seconds. And we don't want that. It's gonna still taste fine. It's just gonna look a little sad. So what I'm gonna do to add in that lemon flavor right now is add in the lemon zest. That gives you that beautiful lemoniness without that acidity, which is a dream. And also, you paid for the zest, you might as well use it, you know? So just add that right on in, as much or as little as you'd like. To me, that's smelling beautiful. Give that a little bit of a stir. Turn that heat off. If you wanted here, you could go in with some chilies. That would be beautiful. Really, whatever you're feeling. Serve that up with a little crusty bread, but then you just wanna get that chicken and pop it in. Give it a little bit of a toss, just to kind of coat. Make it golden brown. Absolutely stunning. Again, I made twice as much sauce as I need for these 2 chicken breasts, but that's how I do things in my life. It's really, really tasty. It's super delicious. I personally like to just bring this whole thing to the table, pop it on down, and you are in for one heck of a treat. I'm feeling very excited about this. I'm gonna give it a taste. Let's go in. Okay, we got a little bit of that chicken, golden brown, juicy. We got a little bit of that spinach and that very hot sauce. Ooh, it's gonna be hot. I'm very excited. Hey, Mary here. What did you think? Drop your comments below and don't forget to like and subscribe for more of the good stuff.